So our new anime starts with that same good old way of life an office worker lives, same train rugged old work and trying to relax after getting back home. That's why everyone thinks of their own fantasy, and right there our protagonist got called by an entity. He claimed he's a manager of this solar system, so in simple words, a god. He had kept an eye on a planet called Medius where the civilization dies out often, because whenever he tries something it becomes a huge scenario, but once again that god wants to do this, and this time takeru will be that drop. He already died, so if he refuses his soul will perish. That's why God had already planned to grant him all the powers he could think of. He himself started to write his character down and added a few things as well in the skill list. Takeru was blessed with a search magic, so God tried to think what was he missing because time was up. Then he said something about his partner and Takeru got worried. But time was up and sadly he got dropped into that new world without any explanation. So now that he's already here, Takeru moves on to find a human settlement, and luckily he found a village. But to buy items for survival he needs money. So he recalled the god gave him search magic, so he tried to activate it but he got something wrong. So without any cringy move or dialogue he casually said search, and this time it got activated. It lets him see whatever is valuable around him. But to see in detail, he scanned the item and found a B-rank flower already, but everything else around was of low-grade items. But among them a stone stood out. Luckily it was rank C. Every ranked item has a different symbol from the card deck. But boring explanation aside, Takeru found things to exchange and came to the village. The gatekeeper saw a new face and thought Takeru was a swordsman judging from his height, but bro said he's a gatherer on travel. Gatekeeper's name was Marlowe and he said their village got no material store but they do have a general store. So Takeru was thankful and got in, but he stood out like a sore thumb. Then he found the store and the owner was an old man. Takeru gives him the stone first and he got delighted. Takeru got a valuable item. He was ready to give 5 gold coins for this. Around 1,000 raves equals 1 gold and he can stay at an inn for 500 raves. But once again, let's keep boring stuff aside. All the other items Takeru had were also something valuable, so owner was confused why he brought them here in a small village. Takeru said he's just a traveler, and hearing that old man got a request then. Judging from his skills of gathering, he asked Takeru to bring him a mithril ore from the eastern mountain. Takeru didn't know, so he agreed, and owner then hands him the money. But then also warned him about the dangers that lurks in that part of the mountain. Then Takeru went to an inn, and the kid brought him some hot water to wash of his body. For one who was used to bath fully soaked in water, this was uncomfortable. But the little kid said sorcerers knows a spell that cleans the whole body with magic. Hearing that, Takeru gives her the money for the hot water, and just as she left, Takeru started to run his brain cells and immediately got the cleaning magic for a cleanup. It was handy but not as good as the old way bath. Well anyways, the next day begins with Takeru heading to that mountain, where he found a spade sign. But it was on a dead person. It had an amulet on him likely given to him by his sister with a letter that says some heartfelt and meaningful things. So Takeru gave him a proper burial and then activated a barrier near nightfall to fend off monsters. Then it comes time for good cooking for tonight's dinner, and he made a meat stew for it. He was enjoying the another world adventure. But the next day he arrived in the eastern mountain and the place gave of dead vibes instantly. So first he made a light and the place had no sign of the ore. So for now he thought, why isn't any monster coming after him, and Takeru thought he must smell nasty. But it's a good thing because nothing will bother him in the work, and saw the opening of this forest. But it was a cliff and he falls down in it. Luckily he activated a spell to touch the ground safely, and here he found the ores but not the mithril one. So he used search and saw the sign. But it was faint, indicating that it was deep within that wall. So Takeru used an explosion to make his way and finally found some mithril. But the place began to shake up, and after a while he found an exquisite pond, which he quickly scanned and saw it ranks SS because it's a dragon's nest. An ancient dragon to be precise, and there were many warning flags attached to it with the details. But when Takeru was thinking about the dragon, that dragon himself attempted to converse, but Takeru was so deep in concentration that the dragon had to come out because Takeru didn't listen. Takeru didn't panic. In fact, he apologized for coming to his house without permission. Bowing down to a dragon was a new experience, but dragon liked it. With that they both got acquainted with each other, and dragon saw an overwhelming amount of mana inside Takeru. He's an ancient dragon, so it's kinda his stuff, by the way. His name was Voldius and he asked Takeru for help. His power were pure, so he asked Takeru to help hatch his egg, because due to some complications in powers it wasn't hatching. As for payment he brings out the mithril ore. Then he gave the egg to Takeru and asked him to pour his mana into it. Well, Takeru did as he told him, and after a few moments it started laughing as the egg started to suck him dry. Bro saw death and regret as his second chance in life got wasted, and as he fell into that darkness, someone approached him there. Don't know if he was mocking Takeru or praising him, but anyways, he was working in this world for eternity, and never in his life he saw someone like Takeru who can shake the world on this level. And suddenly he woke up in darkness again, and a silly voice kept humming around. It came from the little child that hatched, and it saw Takeru as his daddy. Voldius asked Takeru to name him, but he hesitated. But Voldius had already given his child the true name, so he wanted Takeru to give him his common name. If so, then Takeru thought of B as his name. Voldius gave his consent to it and told B to explore this huge world with Takeru. He saw that Takeru got the power to protect his kid, so he wasn't exactly worried about his kid's safety. With that, he goes back into the pond, leaving his child with Takeru. And that's how Takeru found his first companion in this world. And right there, our video has to end for today, but stay tuned to find out what happens next, and for that subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Till then, take care.